heard some oohs and ahs in there. Don't feel bad for me. My father was very supportive throughout my life, very much helped me through my divorce. I am a divorced man, as I mentioned. It's interesting being a comedian and mentioning that I am divorced, because I've seen other comedians mention that they are divorced, and when they do, they get like, oh, are you okay? When I mention I'm divorced, I get this stunned silence as you're all sitting there thinking as one, we know you look very divorced. I should take that as an insult. I don't. I take it as a compliment, because for the first time, my look and a fact about me have lined up. For example, I am not a police officer that's been involved in a racially motivated shooting. And yet some of you are not laughing because you're too busy going, that's where I recognize you from. I'm not an athlete at all. Do you know how many people have been disappointed that I'm not an athlete? Do you know how many people have kicked a ball towards me only to get out? Why? Why would you do that? I am clinically not an athlete. I have something called dyspraxia, which means I was born without reflexes or hand-eye coordination. It is a disability, and it's a very rare disability. So rare, in fact, that when I said dyspraxia, most of you didn't think, he lacks reflexes or hand-eye coordination. No, most of you sat there thinking, he's mispronouncing dyslexia. I can read fine. You throw a book at me, and then I'm f***ed. Do you know what it's like having a disability that no one is aware of? I receive no assistance. Like, you know that fun ramp on the bus? They don't bring that out for me. I don't need it, but the option would be nice. Do I use the disabled toilet? Of course, but I use it like all of you, with shame and haste. I had to tell every member of my family about my divorce. That took a long time. My family is massive. I don't know, like big, like too big. Like my family is so big, I've arrived at family funerals to be greeted by the person I thought was dead. Oh, hello, Mike. What the f*** are you doing here? And my family doesn't tell me anything, so it was a weird experience to be telling them something, like nothing. Like for 5 years, my family walked in the MS walk, the walk for multiple sclerosis. On the 6th year, I couldn't make it. And I mentioned this at Sunday supper where the whole family was. And they all kind of were like, that's a bit ridiculous. And I finally just sort of said, hey, I don't want to be rude here, but we don't know anyone who has multiple sclerosis. Why are we walking in support of research for that? Shouldn't we be supporting a cause closer to our own hearts, like alcoholism or heart disease? We don't need to walk for MS. We just need to walk towards a vegan restaurant. And then my aunt stood up and said, I have MS. I've had it for 6 years. Your dad was supposed to tell you. And then my dad raised his head from his plate of food and went, John, your aunt has multiple sclerosis. She's had it for 6 years. I was supposed to tell you. I was very nervous to tell my dad I was getting divorced, because here's the thing, I suffer from like low-level anxiety, not like the full-blown anxiety, not the like, I can't leave the house. My anxiety's more like I leave every social situation thinking, f*** that up a bit. Not enough to do something, but I will be thinking about it for the rest of my life. And it was ridiculous to be nervous to tell my dad I'm getting divorced. My dad has been divorced 3 times. Now, if you've never met someone who's been divorced 3 times, just picture someone who had half their stuff taken away 3 times. My dad's like a minimalist with baggage. I was so nervous to tell my dad, so nervous. Like when I called him on the phone, I didn't give him an opportunity to speak. The phone rang, he picked up. Before he could say anything, I just went, Dad, I'm getting divorced. Have you ever heard someone smile before? And then his response was, holy shit, buddy, well guess what? Now you're gonna understand me, motherfucker. And then he hung up the phone. Which was a huge help in my divorce, because for the first time in days, I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I'm getting divorced, love is dead. All I was thinking was, did my dad just call me a motherfucker?